Right, so this has been a meme for quite a long time now, but I'm not sure how much of a meme it is anymore, and that is bows being used in PvP. So historically, bows were always quite neglected, they weren't used much, and the general consensus was they were too slow to DPS, they were too slow to arrive in combat, they can't counter frontlines, so their DPS suffered as a result. And because of that, they just weren't ran at all. Everyone just stuck to Inf, Cav, and Spear, and the game sort of revolved around that. But recently, and this has been coming for months, I'd say, there are a lot of little things which has pushed the game in this direction, I think. We've started seeing bows be used on a wider scale from some of the strongest accounts in the game. Like, I think a lot of max accounts at the moment are running bows almost exclusively. Some in ATD, FDH, IKW, they've all shifted to full bow. Not even like meat shield frontline with bow on the back, just full bow. And they've had a lot of success with it. So, for example, I have a few screenshots here. This was last KVK, not even a month ago, against someone in my alliance. I think he ballooned up to 1.5 billion with tier 3s for the nobility rank, so he wasn't exactly built to tank rallies too well, but he does still have, what is that, 6 million tier 4s, and he got absolutely destroyed and basically did no damage at all to Ortizio, even with full reinforcements. And you can see Ortizio just sent full bow. Nothing else, just full bow. Yes, he's a max account, he has all the F5 commanders at 4-star and gold, which is quite a niche situation, I guess, and you can sort, like, whatever he rallied into him would have destroyed him, would have destroyed me too. The results would have been probably quite similar if this was me, probably worse actually with how my castle's set up, but I could blank, so I'd probably not try and take it. But you can see that the damage this is doing. There are even worse rally reports than this too. I'd show this because it's inside my own alliance, so it won't be embarrassing anyone outside of it. And then the other one, which in my opinion is even more ridiculous than this, was a screenshot from NW1 against FDH in AC, and it was Ortizio winning a solo on Kiss of Death in, I assume, FDH's ports. That's how it normally goes. I haven't seen the match, I don't know how it goes, but that's where they normally get him into. And you can see his account is insanely strong. The 1-star gold Night King, 3-star gold Cersei, over 5 mil tier 4s in there. And Ortizio just sent 4 tier 4 bow, and it wasn't even close. It was like half the losses. And NW1 are at worst a top 10 AC alliance in the entire game, and Kiss of Death is, I think, their second strongest account, at least in their like UC locked roster. And Ortizio is doing this to him with full bows. And I'm pretty sure that this isn't possible with normal units. Like, if he sent the best counter into this, I guess, would be full imp. Maybe you could knock him out. I guess there's no cav in there, so he could have, to be honest, because he just wouldn't be getting countered. But bows, as you can see, even on solo attacks and rallies, are really strong at the moment. And they've always been very good defensively. Like, if you were building a trap account, going full bow for that was always very, very good. If you're getting solo attacked or rallied, having full bows in your castle has actually always been really good, especially because your bows will attack them whilst their units are moving towards you and like breaking through your wall. You get a lot of DPS uptime you wouldn't with normal units through that. But now it's working in offensive situations too. That's a scary trend. So there are a few things that have pushed it in this direction. First of all, you have the Iron Defense tree, which, I mean, it got spoken about over time. This has been the game for months now, but we haven't really seen it coming to fruition in terms of changing the game much until recently. Basically all it is there's a second set of attack, defense, and health researches up to 135% just for bows. So we have these just before tier 4s in the normal trees, like all the way up across here, all the unit specific ones, but Spear, Imp, and Cav don't have these extra ones. So because of that, bows just naturally have higher stats through research, and that's a very significant jump too. Like, it's almost, or a little over in fact, 400% bow stats just from research that no other unit type has. That makes a really, really big difference. After that, we have just changes to the events in the game. So historically we always just had AC, and like I said before, because bows, the way they work in combat, where they're slow to attack, which reduces their DPS in a sense, and they don't counter front lines, we're just awkward for AC. I still think they are awkward for AC, for most alliances at least, just because people don't have bows, so sending reinforcements and stuff can be difficult. But now we have Siege of Winterfell and Glorious Battle as well, and bows are by far the best unit types in both of these game modes. So in Siege of Winterfell, bows can attack from range, which gives them an advantage there. Plus, if you spec into full bows, you can cover all 3 marches with the same stats, whereas normally you try and run like an Imp, a Cav, and a Spear march, and you're diluting your stats across those 3 unit types. Whereas with bows, you just buff all 3 marches at once, and you really gain a lot of stats through that. Plus, you can't be countered, so you could run, say, an Imp march, an Imp march, an Imp march, but if someone has full Cav into you, you will just die. Plus, the bow commanders in here are significantly better than any of the other commanders, really, at least in like the middling ranges, just because they do so much damage for such low rage costs. They really are so much better than any of the other unit types, honestly. And then Glorious Battle, it's solo attack based, so the advantage here is you just can't be countered. You can't counter yourself, true, but if the base stats advantage is there, it doesn't matter. And it's so strong from a defensive point of view in that sense. So, as an example, last KVK, it was against K20 with like Ortizio and Dr. Lovegood, people like that, who are all spec'd into full bow at the moment. And Dr. Lovegood was holding, I think, our King's Landing with 1.4 million tier 4 bows and full bow refinement. If he had 1.5 mil tier 4 spears in there, I could just send 1.4 million tier 4 imp for him or something, and I would win that fight 100%. It would hurt, but I would win it. Just because of the counter system. But because he had full bows in there, I didn't even try anything, because I knew if I sent anything at that, I would get my ass handed to me and I would lose, because he is a stronger account, he has higher base stats, and I can't counter him. So there's just no way I can get an advantage there. Like, rallying for more troops would be the only thing I could do, but then, you know, Ortizio would come over, solo me whilst my lord's out. There's so many trickle-on effects of doing the only thing I could have done to give myself any advantage in that situation. And we also have badges. So badges have evolved over time a little bit to what they used to be. When this Imp Cav Spear meta was really established, all you really had was Imp Cav Spear attacks, defenses, maybe some helps in there. But now you have the total badges. So the max accounts like Ortizio will have 8, 15% total attack, total health, and total defense badges. Plus, in the lucky discount event, I think currently we have the troop appearance up at the time of recording right now, but you can actually get bow defense badges from this on the badge variant of this, which never existed in the game before. You can obviously still get the bow healths from the Iron Bank packs, and people have started filling out their normal frontline badges for health like that, so maybe some can start moving into bow health from that now. But you can actually build up a very efficient set of bow badges. Like, you could run bow attack, total health, and then bow defense or bow health or total defense. Rather than just before, it would have literally just been bow attack, and that's pretty much all you could have ran. So you can really boost up your stats through that. Those are the main reasons I think it started coming into play. It's just continuously been power creep to all these little things. There's also Kravras is Awakening. This is honestly maybe one of the best awakenings in the game if you're running, or if your account's set up for it, because it's literally just a 20% bow DPS increase. Like, that's basically how you can interpret it. I thought it might have been on release restricted to just Kravras's unit. I have a report here last KVK from Altizio. You see here Kravras is in D4 with the bows, and then if we find it proccing, I'm not entirely sure where this will be. Like D2 bow triggers Kravras's Awakening. So Kravras is D4 and it's proccing D2. Is there any more? Yeah, D3 procs Kravras even though he's at D4. So it's literally a 20% bow DPS increase just from that one commander, which is slightly ridiculous. That is by far better than any other free-to-play Awakening by quite a distance. But that skill would honestly be, if it was universal at least, it would fit on a Baelish or a Jon, like a Daenerys when she comes out or something. It's that ridiculous. Literally just a 20% damage increase on average. We also have the other bow awakenings. There's probably been more bow awakenings for free to play at least than any other, right? Sheila, she's very popular to get to 4-star because you can go neutral on grain upkeep and just hold grain forever even with troops. And at 4-star she gives 25% bow attack. So it's just all these little things giving bow builds more and more and more passive stats. And it seems to have gotten to a point where that's tipped the scales maybe. And now bows might be the most effective thing to run in PvP. Which is quite a scary thing to say. I think a lot of people, including myself, are going to be quite resistant in changing. I'm not sure how much more space they have to really get any better, because we do still have awakenings to come out for the normal units, stuff like Rhea and Kevin. Then again, like Kevin's total stats, you could run him with bows too. You know, Rhea, Patello, that sort of stuff might boost up the normal units a bit better. But Robert's a meme. It's always been theorized his awakening might be insane because he's just so useless normally. Egbert as well. He has what, 40% bow attack, passive 50%. When he gets awakened, that bow attack is going to go so high because it will be 80% just from the 1.6 bonus. So he'll be above 100% bow attack easily. So maybe it's just going to keep going in this direction, and we're going to have to start shifting to bows. Which is, it doesn't feel right saying that, but it does sort of feel like that's the way the game is going right now. It really does. I'd at least keep your eye on it, especially in UC. If we look at like the bracket, for example, a lot of these later alliances like FDH have a lot of full bow people, like I said, at the moment. I'm not sure if they swap in and out of that for UC. I guess they could, but I'm not sure. ATD have some full bow guys. I think the IKW full bow guys also join them. So if Kiss of Death is getting soloed out of ports by max accounts, what on earth is ATD and their bow guys can be able to do to people? Like, will accounts like, I don't even know, like Love Angel or Grimalicious, will they be able to hold 2 million tier 4 bows from like an Imperial Rock? Maybe. but it might be close, judging off the Kiss of Death report. So it really does seem that they're in such a strong position right now. It's just the way you can focus your buffs on them so hard. So in my refinement right now, I have this. It's all quite generic, I guess. You could just have 320% bow attack, and you'll never be countered, ever. So you can run bow into everyone, and just naturally through that you'll have such a strong stats advantage against most people. And that doesn't even require being a strong account. Like, you can do that as a free-to-play account too. The only awkward thing about it is most alliances are still stuck in the normal unit types, and if you go full bow, you're going to have serious problems PvPing with your alliance, like joining rallies or playing AC with them, reinforcing and whatnot. That is the big issue with it. But if alliances out there really get everyone to commit, and everyone swaps to full bow, everyone builds tons of tier 4 bows, I think it will be scary if you have the accounts to justify, and I think we are starting to maybe see it creep into some of these top alliances and places too. So yeah, for sure keep your eye on it, and it's going to be an interesting one to watch develop, I think.